Hello world, my name is Klaus Hostel and I'm doing 100 innovation keynotes in 100 days. Today is number 80, and that means that today I'm going to have a very short keynote about something that I found some years back that I find really useful, and that is the Pareto principle, or the Pareto rule, or as it's also known, the 80-20 rule. So what does the 80-20 rule say? Without getting into too much detail about the research behind it, and there's a lot, and the examples, and there are many, the Pareto principle is very simple. It says that it takes you 20% of the time to get 80% of the result, and then it takes you the remaining 80% to get the remaining 20%. Or if it's customers, you'll have 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of your customers, or 80% of your complaints are coming from 20%. You get where this is going. Essentially saying that there is a 20% of whatever it is you're doing, gardening perhaps, that produces 80% of the work or the result or the problems or the money or the happiness or whatever it is. And you should find those 80%. And then you should find the 20% they're attached to. So if you can figure out which 20% of your customers are bringing you 80% of the problems, find those 20% and see if you can do something about that. Maybe get rid of them, maybe concentrate on them, maybe just do something else. Or if you can find those 20% that will add 80, that are 20% of your revenue, or if you can find the 20% of the project that brings you 80% of the way. One of the reasons that I love the 80-20 principle is that if you're willing to, you can just stop at 80. You can just say, okay, we've done 80% of the work. That took 20% of the time. Now we can either use the remaining time and get to 100% or 95% or whatever it is. This is kind of abstract stuff right now. Or we can say this is good enough. And the nice thing about 80% is 80% of what? If we invite a professional football player in, somebody who makes millions of dollars every year playing football, maybe in the NFL in the US, and say, now you're going to play a game, but you're only going to play like at 80% of your maximum capacity. You're only going to give it like 80%, whatever that might mean energy-wise. I know in sports it's always give it 110%, but let's say you take in somebody who's really, really good and say, just give it 80%. They're still going to be miles better than most of us. They're going to be lengths better. They're going to be so much better, even at 80%, than most of us are at 100. So the tricky thing about stopping at 80 is that if you're really good, then your 80% is still impressive. And, well, if you keep on doing that, if you keep on practicing going to 80, metaphorically speaking, abstractly speaking, then you get a lot of stuff done, and you'll find that your skill level, whatever it is, improves. Now, I'm not saying that in everything you do, you should be content with going to 80%. There are plenty of things where you should give it your all. You should do everything you can and try for a little bit more. But there are plenty of things where if you get used to just taking it to 80%, you're saving time, you're saving energy, and you'll still be getting better, so your next 80% will be better, your next 80% will be better. That's one of the reasons I love the 80-20 rule, I love the Pareto principle, because I'm really good at taking things to 80. Really, really good at that. And that means I get a ton of stuff done. And since I'm constantly learning, my 80% is getting better and better. And in some spaces, even my 100% is really unimpressive. But there are other spaces where even my 80%, pretty nice, because I've done so much of it. And that means that I'm not worried about having to deliver 100%, having to deliver 98%. 80% is just fine, because it's still quite good. Might even still be excellent. And with that, I'm going to end today's keynote and my small walk in our garden, celebrating the fact that spring is finally really coming to the Baltic Sea. Or at least, it's 80% here. Now, okay, sorry, I couldn't help myself, right? My jokes, even the 80% ones, aren't that good. Thank you for listening.